You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, a semi-truck in Fort Scott loses control and crashes into a house.
It's a beautiful four-state morning, but I tell you what, it is also frigid. We're going to find out how long we've got to tolerate these sub-freezing temperatures. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, we'll meet a mother in Broward County, Florida, who gets the best holiday gift of all. All that and more coming up.
Four States' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. The wintry weather may have stopped falling, but not before it's slicking roads across the area. A semi-truck lost control on US 69 in Fort Scott Saturday just after 4:30 p.m. The truck ran off the road and crashed into a pickup truck parked in a driveway before crashing it into a home at 1415 State Street. Passenger of the semi-truck was taken to Via Christi with serious injuries. No one else was injured in the crash. Slick roads may be to blame for 3 fatalities in Kansas. On Saturday, the first one happened just before 2 a.m. in Wyandotte County on Interstate 435 when a car rear-ended a KDOT plow truck at near highway speeds. The driver, 20-year-old Ernesto Lopez of Platte City, Missouri, was killed. The driver of the plow truck suffered minor injuries. The second accident happened on Interstate 135 in McPherson County around 4 in the afternoon when 36-year-old Jimmy Hall III of Wichita lost control of his vehicle and crashed into a ditch. 43-year-old Leslie Berner of Osage City, Kansas was killed when she lost control of her vehicle on US 56 in Osage County. Some sad news now over in Joplin. Police K-9 Belgian has passed away. Belgian retired in 2018, has been enjoying his retirement at home with his handler, Officer Adam Brannon. According to the department's Facebook page, Belgian's health declined rapidly. Officer Brandon had to make the difficult decision to have him put to rest. Lawrence County, Missouri coroner investigates after a man is found dead in Aurora, apparently due to extreme frostbite. A 911 caller found the man on Highland Road near a tree stand on the property, which was owned by his family. He was taken to Mercy Hospital, where he later died from his injuries. Officials say they do not suspect foul play. They have not released any more information, including the victim's name. 7 pounds and measuring at 19.5 inches, Theory Draper is the first 2022 baby at Freeman. She was born at 10:39 Saturday morning to Webb City parents Sarah and Greg Draper. Her parents tell us they chose the name Theory for its uniqueness.
I just thought it was unique. I liked it because we were pretty set on Scarlet, and then my husband brought up Theory, and I was just, I've always been one for unique names, so that's why I liked it the most.
Theory has a unique spelling. It's Thyri. Ascension Via Christi in Pittsburgh also welcomed a New Year's baby. Stetson Cole Weber was born Saturday morning at 12:33 to Hannah Walters and Seth Weber of Prescott, Kansas. Baby Stetson came in at 8 pounds, 2 ounces, 20.5 inches long. Congratulations to the new parents starting off 2022 the best way possible. Well, 5 endangered Siberian tiger cubs at a South Korean zoo gave cheer to locals looking to ring in the new year on Wednesday. 2022 will also see the start of the year of the tiger, and that's according to the Korean zodiac, adding significance for visitors. The quintuplets, whose combined names of Ariam, Daeun, Yuri, Nara, and Gangsan mean beautiful landscape of our country. They were all born on June 27th of 2021. It was a rare event, as tigers usually only give birth to a litter of 2 or 3. According to the zoo located within the Everland Amusement Park in Yangon. Siberian tiger, once common in the Korean peninsula, is on the brink of extinction in the wild after its population was decimated by poaching and loss of habitat. Scientists believe only a few hundred now live outside captivity.
I thought the cubs looked very, very large. And then I just saw that shot of Mama walking with them for scale.
They're half a year old.
That's a tad bit intimidating right there when you see them next to Mama. My goodness, that's cool though. That is great that they're able to
You're
greet
the
some
tiger.
more.
How about that?
Well, and you hope with the if they can crack down on the hunting and the poaching, that maybe we see that wild population begin to grow as well. Tanya's cold one out there. Here's a look at our temperatures. These are not wind chills. These are actual temperatures. Only 120 on the board. It's been Chanute all morning long. We've got 18 in Miami and Lamar. Joplin right now over 7th and Rangeline sits at 18, and a wind chill all the way down to 10 degrees. Far cry from our record, and eventually, by the time we get to this afternoon, we're not going to be far off from the daily average for the 3rd day of January. Look at that, 1959 was all the way down to 0. Now, as far as what we were looking at precipitation-wise, no worries about traveling. Just want everybody to make sure you have multiple layers on. The mess really stays on the mid-Atlantic, where they not only have snow in the higher elevations, but thunderstorm activity as well. January thunderstorms. And then we've got this one beginning to develop in the Pacific Northwest. It will play a role in our future weather. For this afternoon, after we get past sunrise, that officially hits at 7:32 in Joplin. Then we begin a little bit of a warm-up. By the time we get to about 11, split the difference right there. By the time we get to 11 a.m., should be above the freezing mark, and eventually topping out around 43 degrees for this afternoon. South wind is going to pick up for tomorrow, but we're going to stay dry all the way really until Thursday morning. One thing that will help out, believe it or not, it sounds weird, you go, oh, is that going to present a major wind chill as the wind begins to increase early Tuesday morning? Well, it actually keeps us right around the freezing mark for early tomorrow morning. So it'll be better tomorrow than what we're experiencing today. But look at this 7-day forecast. Here's really what we're going to pay attention to. If you think it's chilly now, there's a secondary cold front that's headed its way. That's the one off the Pacific Northwest. And coming up here in just a little bit, Tanya, I want to break down what we're looking at for Wednesday into Thursday, because we may have some travel concerns Thursday morning as this system comes over the Rockies.
Definitely keep an eye on. Up next, health experts and education officials talk about the return to school as pediatric COVID-19 cases hit an all-time high. And later, a young Buffalo Bills fan draws attention with his love of the team and his special talent. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
After you've been injured in an
Your closest VA medical center.
Millions of kids are headed back to school as COVID-19 cases surge. There's a lot of parents once again wondering what's best for their families. Britt Conway has the latest from health experts and education officials.
Omicron is so much more contagious than the previous variants have been.
And it's hitting kids harder than the previous variants. Child COVID-19 hospital admissions have hit an all-time high.
I think a lot of the safeguards that people had in place before had been lost. So many kids getting infected, and when the sheer numbers go up, that percent unfortunately starts to get more of our kids put into the hospital.
Health experts expect it will only get worse. So what does that mean for sending kids back to school? Depends on who you ask.
We can keep our students safe, and we can keep them in person together learning.
We really want our kids in school. So if we're talking about a 1 to 2 week delay to try to get past the peak of this, I think that's reasonable.
Trying to open schools at this point, it's hard to imagine how things will go well, especially if you start seeing absences of school teachers, bus drivers, cafeteria staff. That's all going to feed into this.
How the return to school is being handled depends on the district and sometimes the school, but the advice is the same.
Talk to your officials at the schools. Be sure that everyone there is wearing masks if possible. Talk to them about keeping the doors and the windows open.
We know that wearing masks works. We know that distancing when possible works. We know that hand washing and ventilation, all of those things work.
If your kids are 5 and up, vaccinate them.
You don't want to be the parent whose child doesn't do very well and ends up in the hospital.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
We've got another baby animal story to kick off the new year. The Legends Park Zoo of Lima introduced 2 brand new white lion cubs on New Year's Eve. Kimba and Zamara, 9 and 10 months respectively, are normal African lions that have a recessive gene that makes their fur white and are not albino lions. Now, the cubs were acquired from the Leon Zoo in Mexico, and since they arrived in Lima, they were kept in quarantine from medical and conduct observation. After the vets assessed the lions, they were finally released into the enclosure for public display. The visitors have enjoyed their rare experience. That's cool, white lions.
We've run the gamut here.
We got
past
tiger
several
cubs and
days.
lions and-
We had the albino jaguars last week. Well, maybe it's fitting. Didn't you tell me that 2022 was the year of the tiger?
And well, line's pretty close. But hey, guess what? We've got another tiger story coming up later on. That's pretty cool too.
I did not know that.
Yes. You have to stick around.
It truly is the year of the tiger, folks. 2022 has also decided that it's going to be frigid.
Uh-huh.
All right, here's a live look outside of Television City now. Wow, it's gorgeous, I'm telling you, multiple layers. The nice thing, no travel concerns other than making sure your heater's running full blast. Probably warm up the car a little bit before you jump in it, but not going to run into anything on the road, thanks in part to wonderful job by our road crews over the weekend there. I know you guys had some long hours even over the holiday. Temperatures ranging anywhere from about 14 to 20, with Chanute being our lone 20 on the board, about 17, 18 for the central portion of the 4 states. Let's go 18 in Miami. Joplin sits at 18 as well. Skies beginning to lighten over 7th and Rangeline, where the humidity will drop. It's going to be a dry one, and also too, the wind chills that we have in effect right now, single digits up to the north, anywhere from 6, 7, 8 degrees. Still waiting on Pittsburgh and Lamar to get to double digits, where right now it only feels like it's 9. And all that being said, it's actually warmer right now, warmer relative term, warmer right now than what we experienced on Sunday morning. The vast majority of the very cold air is pushed all the way down to the southeastern portion of the United States, ranges up through the mid-Atlantic and into New England. This is a little bit deceiving out to our west right here, because normally we could look at that and be like, okay, we're going to have a nice increase of temperatures. That's actually not going to be the case because of low pressure system that's developing on the Pacific Northwest. And what that thing's going to do is follow the jet stream. Key factor when we talk about this is going to be how well organized it continues to stay as it makes its way over the Rockies. And so give it another 24, but we're going to talk about that here in just a little second. Mid-Atlantic, an absolute mess. There's travel concerns with the snow, thunderstorm activity as well. And as this thing makes its way up through D.C., it's going to affect portions of New York, Boston, Philly as well. And so that's going to cancel additional flights for today. You've still got people that took off for the holiday, haven't been able to make it back. They're trying just to get back to work and back to their normal lives. We will make it up into the 40s today. Whole bunch of sunshine. Wind not too bad. It'll really increase though overnight. Pick up around 20 mile per hour gusts, 25 to 30. But one thing that does, since it works in from the south, does keep us right around the freezing mark. And so we'll stay dry for Monday and Tuesday. Let's talk about that one coming off the Pacific right here. There's our winds for tomorrow, working up to 20, 25 miles per hour in the morning. And here it is. And like I said, a lot of it's the organization that it can keep as it makes its way over the Rockies. But what we're looking at is Thursday morning, especially to the west and the northern portion of the 4 states, because it looks like that freezing line is going to drop down into northwest Arkansas. And so we could even pick up the old wintry mix. Want everybody on their toes, just paying attention to how the 7-day forecast and future track develops as we get from Wednesday night into Thursday. And then after that, we got a nice weekend ahead. We'll even have 50s by the time we get to Saturday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Ticks and toes.
I want you to meet an 11-year-old in New York who's not letting a rare disorder stop him from having fun, being creative, and enjoying his favorite NFL teams. He loves the Buffalo Bills. He even used his mouth to draw a picture of his favorite player, old number 17, Josh Allen. And now that picture, well, is getting a ton of attention, as Ryan Arbogast shows us.
11-year-old Grayson Rippick may not be able to use his arms or legs, but he has life figured out.
He's always told us that if he could get some robotic arms, he'd like to go play in the NFL.
That's Grayson playing Xbox, hunting, and zooming around on his automatic wheelchair, all by using his mouth. But his real passion? Art. And the Buffalo Bills.
So I draw with my mouth. I've got like a short pencil. I use long pencils in art class, but for like free draw, I have short pencils. And what I did is I got like a coloring, because I wanted a coloring page like for Josh.
Grayson drew this picture of his favorite player, number 17, in class. But it doesn't stop there. After some of his major surgeries, he's even decked out his casts in Bills red, white, and blue.
Every time we would go anywhere, people were like, "Go Bills!" And it was like his little ability to express himself with the cast that's not very nice.
Grayson's teacher was blown away and put his art on Facebook.
It really did. It changed my life. It really did. I mean, like, I was like, wow.
Then, Bills Mafia took over. Now he's headed to Sunday's game against Atlanta. But the young man has one request.
Josh, I'm going to be in the Bud Light Club on Sunday, and I hope to meet you there.
Now get this, over the weekend, he got to go to the Falcons-Bills game. Bills won at 29-15, and guess what? Number 17, 201 total yards, 2 touchdowns. We'll be back with this morning's 4-State Hero right after this.
It's time to honor this morning's 4-State hero, Jonathan Vale. Senior Airman Vale served in the Air Force from September 11th of 2001 to January 12th, 2003. He served with the 60th Civil Engineer Squadron at Travis Air Force Base in California. Senior Airman Vale earned an Air Force Good Conduct Medal, the Air Force Achievement Medal, and a number of other awards. His hometown, Coffeyville, Kansas. We thank you, 4-State hero, Jonathan Vale. Tamarack, Florida, the Broward County Sheriff's Department helped deliver a very special Christmas present. Ann Myers got the gift of seeing her son, a sergeant in the U.S. Army, home from a 2-year deployment in South Korea. Alex Browning covered the heartwarming reunion.
Yeah, it was amazing for me. It was. I was glad to have him home because South Korea is far.
I always expect her to be excited, but I never expect her to break down as she did.
It was the best Christmas present anybody could ever give me.
For Ann Myers, that special gift this year wasn't under the tree, but it was having her youngest son, Army Sergeant Greg Hardy, back home in her arms.
Half of Christmas Day already left and he didn't show up, so I was like, yeah, I'm not going to see Gregory.
But then,
hello?
A knock at the door.
Who is it? You know, this is Broward County Sheriff's Department. I'm like, yeah, and they were like, there was a robbery at the community center.
The suspect went because he says that you have an alibi. He says that he was here. We just need to identify it.
Here, mommy. Put your shoes on.
We're like 5 houses down, but we started right around the corner.
There's no men live here. Just me and my daughters.
There was no suspect, but instead a son surprising his mother after a 2-year deployment in South Korea.
This year, I thought I really wasn't going to be able to make it. But when they said, hey, look, your leave got approved. Looks like you're going home. I said, what? No way. Really? I was like, all right, so now I got to go big or go home. Or I couldn't go home in this way.
And with some planning among siblings and a little help from Broward deputies, a Christmas wish coming true this year.
Next thing I know, I was on a almost 24-hour flight back home.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Yeah, it was worth it. And
worth it, every penny.
And a simple reminder, after all the craziness so far this year,
cherish the ones you love.
Nothing really can replace human touch. Like, you know, you might get to see your loved ones over Zoom. You might get to see them on call, but when you get that hug, it's a little bit different, you know, like nothing can describe, you know, feeling, especially your warm mother's embrace, you know, the ones who's seen you grow up from nothing into something. And I don't think I could ever replace that.
Mama can't replace you either because she's very proud of you. Very proud of you. And she loves you a whole lot.
Well, sheriff's deputies said they were very happy to deliver some good news to a local family for a change. Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, semi-truck crashes into a Fort Scott home. We'll have the details. And in the new year, you can learn a new art form. We're going to tell you where you can learn to make stained glass. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
Learning your child.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:28. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Wintry precip may have stopped falling, but not before it slickened roads across the area. A semi-truck lost control on US 69 in Fort Scott Saturday just before 4:30 p.m. The truck ran off the road and crashed into a pickup truck parked in a driveway. before crashing into a home at 1415 State Street. Passenger of the semi-truck was taken to Via Christi with serious injuries. No one else was injured in the crash. Well, slick roads may be to blame for 3 fatalities in Kansas. On Saturday, the first one happened just before 2 a.m. in Wyandotte County on Interstate 435 when a car rear-ended a KDOT plow truck at near highway speeds. The driver, 20-year-old Ernesto Lopez of Platte City, Missouri, was killed. The driver of the plow truck suffered minor injuries. Second accident happened on Interstate 135 in McPherson County around 4 in the afternoon when 36-year-old Jimmy Hall III of Wichita lost control of his vehicle and crashed into a ditch. 43-year-old Leslie Berner of Osage City, Kansas was killed when she lost control of her vehicle on US 56 in Osage County. And late Saturday evening, the Aurora and Marionville police departments were called to an address on East Highland in Aurora near the airport. That's where they found a 34-year-old man with severe injuries in what appeared to be extreme frostbite. He was found near a tree stand on the property, which was owned by his family, and taken to Mercy Hospital, where he later died from his injuries. Officials say while his death remains under investigation, no foul play is suspected at this time. No other details, including the victim's name, have been released. Some sad news now over in Joplin. Police canine Belgian has passed away. Belgian retired in 2018 and has been enjoying his retirement at home with his handler, Officer Adam Brannon. According to the department's Facebook page, Belgian's health declined rapidly, and Officer Brannon had to make the difficult decision to have him put to rest. Seeds of Hope Staffing Agency is hosting no-cost COVID testing drive-through sites. The locations are as of follows: in front of the Fairview Christian Church in Carthage, the corner of Big Lots, located on the corner of 7th and Range Line in Joplin. There are no appointments needed, and the sites are open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays. The new year is a time for many to pick up some new skills, and for some four-staters, that was in the form of learning to make stained glass designs. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky tells us how to make the specialty artwork.
As daunting as it may look, learning to make stained glass designs can really pay off. And what better way to start the new year than learning a new skill?
I think that they're learning a new skill, which is great. You know, learning helps keep the brain active, which we all need at any age.
Diane Miller is a glass artist here in the 4 states, and she's using her background in teaching to spread her knowledge to folks in Pittsburgh.
I have traded grading essays and research papers for teaching stained glass and fused glass projects.
Participants use pieces of glass and fuse them together to create their designs, turning something old into something new. One participant said the activity helps get the creative juices flowing.
You can get your creative side a little bit more, and you have a very polished piece when you get done. Whereas fused glass is a little bit, and they turn out sometimes not.
It's a beginner's course, less about the outcome and more about the experience.
This is a beginner class where I teach glass cutting 101, I call it. This is the glass cutter. This is how you score it. This is how you run the line and go from there.
Miller says she hopes the interaction with new people while learning a new skill can create a valuable experience.
I think the camaraderie of the group, most of these people didn't know each other before they came.
In Pittsburgh, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Classes will continue through January at Artform's Gallery in Pittsburgh. We'll have those details on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, staff at the Royal Burgers Zoo in the Dutch city of Arnhem welcome a newborn manatee. That's a marine mammal native from the Caribbean. The calf appeared to be healthy and immediately surfaced to breathe after leaving his mother's womb before reaching out for her udders. It's still too early to tell whether it's a male or a female, but the newborn is quite large, as they say. Manatees are considered a vulnerable species, and that's on the IUCN's red list of threatened species. I think that has to do with like propellers.
The old sea cow.
Yeah.
Had Phil Keating bring us that marvelous story just last week about the protection of them and how they're turning toward lettuce and cabbage to help feed them. So yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Great creatures.
All right, Tanya, I'll tell you what, we got a system that's now progressing over the Pacific Northwest. Not going to affect us for 3 days. It's going to be okay. And then we've got a mess over here in the mid-Atlantic and the eastern portion of the United States that is canceling additional flights for people trying to get home after the New Year holiday. Luckily for us here in the 4 states, yeah, it's cold, crisp, and clear, but at the same point, we do not have any travel concerns, so let's call ourselves lucky on that facet. Our temperatures, excuse me, we've been as low as about 13 or 14, and we haven't seen much of a bump up, although we're just 2 minutes past sunrise. 7:32 is the official sunrise over Joplin, so hopefully we'll progress in the right direction now, but still holding on to a wind chill of 10 degrees in Joplin and a whole bunch of single digits up to the north. Even as you work into the central and south, we're talking 11 to 13 degrees as the jet stream grabs that cold Canadian air and sweeps it right through us. Weather trend for today with plenty of sunshine. We'll make it up into the low to mid 40s, so that's not too bad. And then overnight, we'll actually get some pretty good winds that'll whip in. And what that's going to do is actually keep us right above the freezing mark, slightly below, especially when you work up to the north. But it should be much better tomorrow morning than what it is this morning. Then we've got to worry about this thing coming at us. We'll really keep our eyes on that for Tuesday into Wednesday, because right now, if this thing holds together, we are going to be looking at some travel concerns, especially for the west and the north early Thursday morning. After it rolls in, we'd get a rebound. We're talking about a nice looking weekend, but once again, it is all eyes on Thursday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. I'm Derek. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll, talking about spending time outside and specifically bird watching. Bird watchers have descended upon the small town of Georgetown, Maine in hopes of getting a glimpse of the Steller's sea eagle. Maybe you've heard the story about this bird. It's a rare Russian eagle, one of the world's heaviest eagles, can weigh much as 21 pounds, wingspan up to 8 feet. And this is the same bird believed to have been spotted in Alaska in August 2020. Since then, it's popped up in a number of places, including Texas, before it appeared in Massachusetts a couple weeks ago. Our question to you specifically is, how do you enjoy spending time outside? 49% of you say love taking a good walk, 19% enjoy that bird watching, and another 19% say, nah, let's fire up the grill. Appreciate everybody's engagement, and you can hit us up on Facebook. You can go straight to the poll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote, and we'll come back with a QR code in just a little bit. A night of comedy with all new episodes on CBS. And if you've ever asked the question, how do you get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? Well, a new book explains how to do that. Anthony Purra has our Eye on Entertainment report.
A new book tells some of the stories behind the stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Titled The Walk of Dreams, Finding Fame in Hollywood or Wherever Life Leads, the 245-page memoir includes photographs from iconic Walk of Fame ceremonies. Author LaRon Gubler has participated in 600 Walk of Fame inductions. He says the walk along Hollywood Boulevard and Vine Street is much more than a tourist attraction.
It has become a source of inspiration to millions of people. They come here with dreams, and it is truly the Walk of Dreams.
The more than 2,700 stars on the Walk of Fame honor actors, musicians, fictional characters, and others. Jockey tells the story of Jack, a middle-aged jockey who wants to ride an underdog horse in a championship race. Clifton Collins Jr., who plays Jack, acted alongside real jockeys who shared their life experiences.
It doesn't matter how many times they get hurt, how many things they break. They love the horses so much. They love that relationship so much.
Jockey is in theaters now. And NCIS and NCIS Hawaii are back with mid-season premieres on CBS.
We're a high priority target.
First, the NCIS team must track down a suspect believed to be selling stolen classified software used to fly combat drones. Then on NCIS Hawaii, the team investigates a shipping container filled with contraband weapons. The Neighborhood and Bob Hart's Abishola also return with new episodes. You can catch them all tonight on CBS. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Anthony Purra, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Be back with some Consumer Watch news right after this.
Well, the man who has led the Walt Disney Company for years is officially done at the media conglomerate. Bob Iger officially ended his tenure as longtime executive chairman at Disney after stepping down as chief executive in 2020. He highlighted his last day on Twitter, spending it at the Disney World Park in Florida. Iger was with Disney for 47 and a half years. He took over as Disney CEO from Michael Eisner in 2005. During his tenure, he oversaw big acquisitions, including Marvel Studios, Pixar, and Lucasfilm. No word yet on his next move, but the White House once considered him for ambassadorships last year. Well, Starbucks is all bubbly with a new taste trial similar to a popular Asian sweet treat. The coffee chain is putting its own twist on boba with 2 new coffee treats tested in 2 locations that are similar to some Asian bubble tea beverages. Now, one is a cold brew sweetened with brown sugar. The other is an iced chai tea latte version. Now, both have small balls of coffee that pop like tapioca pearls in bubble tea. The drinks go for about $5. That's according to a TikTok user. It's not known yet if they will go national. Well, this year, Christmas shoppers did shop till they dropped, and the survey tells us how much cash they dropped down. Lending Tree survey says this Christmas, Americans were willing to spend more than they could afford. 36% of Americans used debit to do it, to the tune of $1,249 on average. Most used credit cards, and nearly 40% did buy now and pay later financing. At holidays end, Americans will have $70 billion more in credit card debt, and 82% with holiday debt will not pay it off within a month. That's all according to the survey. Well, gas prices are expected to increase this year steadily all the way until the summer. According to a recent forecast by fuel tracker Gas Buddy, gas prices will rise significantly this year, projected to be as high as $4.13 per gallon. The same report says its expected prices will be lower towards the end of the year. The report explains costs will average $3.41 a gallon throughout 2022. The dramatic spike is expected to take place between May and June of this year. Popular technology convention gets scaled back, but will continue on during the coronavirus pandemic. The Consumer Electronics Show Technology Convention shortened its scheduled days from 4 to 3, but will take place in Vegas. The convention will still be held January 5th through the 7th, despite losing some well-known presenters like T-Mobile, Lenovo, and Meta. More than 2,200 exhibitors will be in person. 40 conference sessions will be available digitally. All of the 2021 convention was held virtually. We're getting there. Well, the coronavirus pandemic brought a boom in the baby population, but there's a shortage in the products needed to care for them. New York Times report says the pandemic is causing supply chain delays for baby products, and some products such as car seats, cribs, and strollers are seeing twice their normal delivery times. One online marketplace says long delays are coming from Asia and Peru, where cotton for baby apparel is made. The lack of supplies is also causing a booming in the hand-me-down market. About 3.6 million babies were born in 2020. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Johnson, Voorhees.
The famous Betty White, who is gone after her death on Friday, is certainly not forgotten. Fans now have a special opportunity to remember her this entire month. David Daniel has that and more. He's got today's Hollywood Minute.
Hello, I'm Betty White.
The show will go on. Betty White died on New Year's Eve, but producers are going ahead with Betty White, A Celebration. The documentary on the remarkable performer's life and career will still play in theaters one night only, Monday, January 17th, White's 100th birthday. Check fathomevents.com for locations.
We have unfinished business.
Black Widow was a box office hit, but its director, Kate Shortland, was part of a shrinking minority. The Center for the Study of Women in Television and Film at San Diego State University says Shortland and Eternals director Chloe Zhao were 2 of just 12 female directors among the year's top 100 films at the domestic box office. That's down from 16 in 2020. The report shows women continue to be underrepresented in key film industry jobs.
Hello, dearies.
Mrs. Doubtfire is hoping to wait out the Omicron variant. The Broadway show has announced a 9-week hiatus through March 14th in hopes the latest surge in COVID-19 cases will have ebbed by then. Producers said in a statement, "We are doing everything in our power to keep the virus from prematurely ending our run on Broadway." In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
There's also a new animated series bringing the world of How to Train Your Dragon to a modern setting. Oh, our man, he's back for the new year. Rick Damigella has a story.
What are you? Where did you come from? Why am I asking questions?
A new generation of humans and beasties meet in Dragons: The Nine Realms.
We come from Vikings. We don't ask for permission. We don't care what other people think. We crave adventure.
There won't be any adventure if you keep breaking the rules.
Set 1,300 years after the events of How to Train Your Dragon, the animated series streams on both Hulu and Peacock. Julia Stiles leads the voice cast.
It's the modern world, but the kids like to play with dragons, or they discover some dragons. And it has the same kind of heart and spirit of the film, but some new characters.
Oh, but I will, because I am your mother and have responsibilities.
I play the main character's very cool mom, who is a scientist who takes him on expeditions.
Just ahead, over this row of trees. You ready for this?
I think you know the answer to that.
It's the first animated series that I've done, so just to be working on an animated show is so cool. I love watching the animation come together, and you get to go into a recording studio and everything has to be expressed with your voice. So it's like the closest I'll ever get to being a musician or a singer.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Time to say hello to the glow cloud over Television City. Gorgeous and cold start, but clear as can be. Shouldn't have any travel concerns other than the fact multiple layers for you and the kiddos. I know some of them already headed back to school, but other ones, they're getting out thinking one more day of vacation. Make sure they got the heavy winter coats on, as our temperatures right now range from about 20 down to 15. Over 7th and Rangeline, it sits at 18 degrees. Haven't had much of a bump up yet. And we've got a wind chill of only 10 degrees, still holding on to single digits for the north and central portions of the 4 states. Skywatch Storm Tracker, all that cold Canadian air following the arrows of the jet stream, but nothing to worry about precipitation-wise as it hangs over the mid-Atlantic. They've got a mess of snow and even thunderstorm activity. This is our next low-pressure system that we're eyeballing, now beginning to formulate off the Pacific Northwest. Highs today, that's not too far off from normal. We'll go low to mid-40s. And overnight, as the wind begins to pick up, that really does help us temperature-wise, kind of jockey back and forth around that freezing mark. So we'll be better tomorrow morning than what we are this morning. We'll be dry on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. What about Thursday? Well, if this thing stays organized as it gets over the Rockies, Thursday morning, that's what I want everybody to be prepared for, because we could see not only a little wintry mix for the portions of southwest Missouri, but even some snow out to the west and up to the north. So that's really going to be our next travel event. A 7-day forecast that after we get through that, we do get a nice little rebound. That snow will be gone by the time we get to Saturday and Sundays. We're back up into the 50s and 40s. We will be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Kids nationwide are set to return to school today after the holiday break, and there's concern as the Omicron variant spreads rapidly and pediatric hospitalizations are up sharply. And as the nation's surge continues, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin announced he has tested positive for COVID-19 and is experiencing mild symptoms. On Thursday, President Biden and Vice President Harris plan to deliver remarks on the first anniversary of the January 6th deadly assault on the U.S. Capitol. Former President Trump, whose actions during the attack are under congressional scrutiny, plans to hold a news conference that day. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have dismissed wide receiver Antonio Brown. During yesterday's game with the Jets, Brown took off his jersey and equipment and left the field. Brown was playing his second game with the Bucs after he's suspended by the NFL for misrepresenting his COVID vaccination status. Let's check in with Mike with a final look at your forecast.
There's some explaining to do with that one. Weather trend for today, wait till about, say 11 a.m. is when we'll finally get above the freezing mark. Make it up into the low 40s later on. The south wind helps overnight as we're able to stay right around the freezing mark. We'll go back and forth. But then really eyeballing the secondary cold front that arrives Wednesday night. And once again, you're going to want to join us each and every morning as we track this low pressure system coming off the Pacific Northwest just in time for Thursday morning.
Well, the Russian Amir Tiger Center has captured footage of Siberian tigers or the tigress Sevleka with her 2 newborn cubs. Okay, this was caught on cam. Video was released by the center shows the mother walking her baby tigers through the woods. Cubs are estimated to be about 4 to 5 months old. Okay, supposed father of the cubs is the tiger Grom, the son of Svetlana and another tiger Boris. That's interesting. Last year, Grom pushed Boris out of the area that they had previously divided and became its sole ruler. The Siberian tiger is extremely rare and is considered an endangered species on the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List.
Not a bad story count for Year of the Tiger right there.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for joining us and letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.
Indigo Sky Casino celebrating 37 years of gaming excellence. Join the celebration.